everyone. Welcome back to the Minute Women Podcast. My name is Grace.
And I'm Linnea.
And before we get into anything, if you enjoy this podcast, make sure you go rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Give it 5 stars.
Exactly. When you're just sitting scrolling on your phone, you could be rating and reviewing our podcast.
When you're sitting in traffic, you could illegally hop on your phone and
Absolutely.
rate and review the podcast.
Traffic's a nightmare these days. Getting close to the holidays. Yeah.
Yeah, that can be your Christmas gift to us.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
That's all I want for Christmas.
We're not so much about the giving so much as the asking and the taking this year.
But we give you free content every Wednesday.
That's true. So,
you're welcome.
All we ask for in return is a little 5-star review and a little review on Apple Podcast.
Yeah.
But speaking of the holidays, it's December.
It's December.
I love Christmas.
We've had our first snowfall. Grace we are in Mahone Bay.
Yeah.
Quaint little town of Mahone Bay at my apartment recording.
Which is beautiful.
It's a sweet little spot. I am going to take Grace to do some very quintessential social Christmas things, and we're going to do a little bit of shopping, and
I love it.
this is like the kickoff for Christmas in Lunenburg, so like
This weekend?
on the South Shore. Yeah, last night was the lighting of the vessels. So they light the boats.
Oh,
So the boats
on fire.
on fire. The Blue Nose burns every year. No, they
the
like
reenactment.
they string lights on them, and then they go like 3, 2, 1, and then they're all lit up, and it's just great.
It's cute.
And then they light all the Christmas trees on fire.
fire.
And then we have a big bonfire.
That is what they used to, like, originally Christmas lights were candles on Christmas trees.
Yeah.
I don't think it was as common. It's not like every house would have had a Christmas tree, but they
Right.
would do that, and that's a horrible idea.
It's terrible.
The past was really flammable. Like,
really flammable and just
everything.
really, I know, let's take kindling. Hear this. Let's take kindling. We'll wait till it's really nice and dry. We'll bring it in our wood house.
with a hay roof.
Yeah. And then get this. We're going to put candles on the tree.
Yeah.
It's like everybody was just drunk and stupid.
I just like the idea of people constantly being shocked that things are burning down. They're like, oh no, they've burned down again.
Again. I feel like 1500s England was just fires everywhere.
Yeah, no, that's like, I think that's pretty accurate. There's a reason that they had to make fire departments.
Yeah.
When you can't transport water, like
Quickly.
large quantities of water very
Yeah.
quickly, things just burn down. I think originally fire departments, when they were made, their primary goal was like, all right, cordon off these buildings and save them. Like,
Yeah.
if it's on fire, it's already too late. Should we keep talking about fire?
Maybe we should move on.
Maybe we can move on from fire.
Maybe we can move on.
Okay, moving on from fire. We're gonna go Christmas shopping, and
Yeah,
I'm so excited. I
Christmas
haven't
is
done.
exciting.
I feel so behind.
Oh, definitely.
It's like the older I get, the more behind I feel on Christmas shopping.
Yeah.
Even though as a kid, I would Christmas shop like the 2 weeks before, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
And this year, I don't even know like what people want.
That's the thing. This is the first year that I just have no idea what to get anyone that I have to do Christmas shopping for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's no set thing that I'm like, yes, that's what I'm getting them, which is difficult.
So today is not a high gam because I wrote this episode and I was like, we just need to do it.
And Grace was like, I have an episode, but like we could. And I was like, you know what, Grace? This is our goddamn show.
This is our goddamn show. We can do whatever we
We
want.
can do whatever we want. Should be the title of the episode. It's our goddamn show.
And I chose this one because I was going through the titles of Heritage Minutes and I saw this title. I was like, I don't even know what that's about.
Great.
And then I looked it up. I was like, oh, it's just the Oh Canada Heritage Minute.
Oh,
Canada.
yeah. That's Canada. That's
But
a good
it's
Heritage
called les-voltigeurs-de-quebec.
What?
So les-voltigeurs-de-quebec was a rifles unit
Oh yeah.
in Quebec
Okay.
whose color band played the first rendition of O Canada.
Okay.
And so the Heritage Minute is like guys goofing off at band practice.
Yeah.
And they're like, come on,
Yeah. The conductor's like, come on, pay attention.
pay attention. We got to play this song. And then they play that song. And then they're like, and that's O Canada.
Yeah.
But that is not a good representation of the history of O Canada.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Because I think O Canada is something that, it's like the flag where you just kind of assume it's always been there.
Right.
O Canada has had many different transformations, and it's existed for a long time before it was our national anthem.
Well, was God Save the Queen would have probably been
Yeah,
our anthem.
And we'll kind of go into it. Technically, that's not a national anthem. Like, the UK doesn't have a national anthem. They just have a royal anthem.
But that's what they play at the Olympics.
It is what they play at the Olympics.
When they win.
And there's a lot of countries that don't have a national anthem that will play God Save the Queen or King at their...
I was thinking about this on Remembrance Day, actually, because that's the last time I heard God Save the Queen. Because I was at the service.
They're flipping and reversing the lyrics.
Yeah, it's going to be King, which that'll be...
And then likely it'll be King for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
We'll never hear God Save the Queen again.
Except in movies.
Yeah. And in our hearts.
Yeah.
They should just stick with it.
It was funny, though, because I don't remember a time not knowing God Save the Queen, but it was Remembrance Day this year, and my sister, who's 12, was like, what is this shit? Like,
really?
Why does everybody know this song except for me?
But she's been to a Remembrance Day ceremony before,
I know,
right?
But she was just like, I don't remember this. And I was like,
remember this.
It's like, stupid little child.
You only missed one Remembrance Day ceremony because of COVID.
Right? I was like, come on, Peyton, get with it.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about how O Canada was written and then how it became our national anthem, because it's kind of an underdog story.
Well, that's good.
It was not destined to be the national anthem.
Well, as far as anthems go, recently I was at a para-hockey tournament, and the South Korean national anthem, and I think it's actually the Korean national anthem. I think it's the same for the entire country.
Okay.
I
doubt it.
Really?
It's a dictatorship. There's no way that they have the same, like, freedom and liberty national anthem as South Korea.
But they all fall under Korea.
No, they're two countries.
No, so this was what okay. We'll talk about this later, but that's
okay.
But anyway,
I just think a lot of South Koreans would be like, fuck no.
Yeah. So the South Korean national hockey team, so their anthem is beautiful. It's so pretty.
Do you not like O Canada?
I think O Canada's lame as far as national
Really?
anthems go.
I
do. Well, maybe it's just because, like, I've heard Star Spangled Banner so many times, and that is like a powerful piece of music. Now I know,
guess, but it's I mean, musically, it's such a butchery.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like extremely difficult to like play and sing.
Oh yeah,
because it's like all over the place.
And I know the history of Star Spangled Banner is like dark. And we only listen to like 3 of the 84 verses or something that are all about terrible things, because history's a terrible place.
I taught you well.
Yeah, you did. but yeah, I just think Canada's a little bit like, meh.
Really?
Yeah.
I like it. I like
Change
that
my
it's
mind.
short.
Change my mind, Grace.
Okay, well, I'll do my best.
Tell me the story.
I don't know if this is the story you want to hear about it then. We're going to do our best. So O Canada is a 28-bar song originally written in the key of G major for 4 voices and piano. It's a march in 4/4 time, and it's played maestoso e risoluto, which is Italian for majestic and resolved.
Yeah.
The original manuscript has been lost, so we have no like original documentation of the creation, but we know the history pretty well. Before we get into Canada's national anthem, I just wanted to do a little breakdown of national anthems in general.
Please.
Because what a weird concept, right? Like, we have a song and we all sing it sometimes when we're together.
Usually standing up.
And like, especially in a country as big as Canada, the idea that someone thousands of kilometers away is singing the same song as you, it's nice, but it's also like, what a weird thing we've decided is normal. National anthems were a pretty accepted phenomenon by the time Canada was formed as a dominion, though a lot of national anthems weren't official, so there's no like legislation that says this is our national anthem. There's just sort of this organic growth of a song that everyone subscribes to. Many of the earliest national anthems have their origins as royal anthems, so that would be like God Save the King or Queen, which was first performed in 1619, and it remains the like national anthem of Britain and other Commonwealth nations, though it's technically not a national anthem.
Okay.
There's like not a piece of paper that says this is our national anthem. It is our like royal anthem, but we use it the same way.
But we have a national anthem.
We have a national
We have that
anthem.
piece of paper.
Yes. Spain's national anthem is also its former royal anthem. So there are royal anthems that have become national anthems. And then there are countries like Denmark where they have a royal anthem and a national anthem.
Okay.
So they have two that are both legit.
Both totally legit.
Yep. But it was the 1830s that was like a real revolution for national anthems because the French had lots of revolutions. And they
sure did.
They didn't get enough of cutting people's heads off in the 1700s. So in 1830, they had the July Revolution, which was like, let's revamp it.
I was going to say their royal anthem isn't just One Day More from Les Mis.
Yeah.
Because that's what I thought.
It's just the whole like streets of Paris.
Exactly. That's what I imagine. I just imagine that if I go to France, someone's gonna break out into the Les Mis soundtrack.
So like there's a lot of armed groups in France, like in the army. La Marseillaise is like a very big song for them, and that becomes associated with France and it's associated with the revolution. So after the July Revolution, La Marseillaise is reinstated as the national anthem of France. And this started a trend for nations defining their national anthem. Okay. So now we have countries that are like, what a fun piece of legislation.
This is fun.
Let's like nail down a national anthem.
Like, should we decide if we're going to stop, slavery today, or should we just make an anthem?
Let's just do it.
Let's just make
like
an
I know that slavery thing has been on the docket for decades, but it's just like I just still don't have an opinion.
People like public hangings.
People love it. And this is also happening at the time that you have a lot of wars of independence in Latin America. So Latin America is seeing a lot of democratic revolutions. And so in accordance, they are also defining national anthems. So now it's like the cool hip thing to be like, we have a national anthem.
They're all doing it.
So it's 1880.
Okay.
Flash forward. Canada is now a country.
Yeah, we are, buddy.
It's got like most of the provinces. We're still a dominion technically.
Yeah.
But, like Canada's like, a national anthem would be kind of cool.
We're here.
So God Save the King was definitely a popular patriotic song, and it would be played at all the official ceremonies in Canada, at being a dominion of the United Kingdom. The Maple Leaf Forever was also an incredibly popular patriotic song.
Okay.
Have you never heard the Maple Leaf Forever?
I don't know.
They play it at Leafs games every once in a while.
Oh.
You'll still hear it played.
Yeah.
Maple Leaf Forever.
Yes, I have. Okay.
So The Maple Leaf Forever was written by Alexander Muir in 1867, so the year of Confederation.
Yeah.
He was said to have been inspired to write this song by a large maple leaf tree, which stood on his street in front of Maple College, a house at Memory Lane and Lang Street in Toronto.
Where he ate maple syrup on his pancakes every morning.
With his pet beaver and in his buffalo plaid.
With his, moose heads mounted to the walls.
It's just the Epcot Center at Disney. The Canadian Pavilion at the Epcot Center.
But if we throw up a totem pole, it's legit.
I love that it's on Memory Lane.
No, that's funny.
They named that street as a joke.
Beatles song.
Yeah, they were just like, this will be hilarious. So he wrote the song after serving with the Queen's Own Rifles of Toronto in the Battle of Ridgeway against the Fenians in 1866.
Okay.
And the song became quite popular in English Canada. And the popularity made it, alongside God Save the King, the de facto national anthem of Canada.
Okay.
There was just one problem, though.
All right.
Neither of these songs had French translations, nor did they particularly speak to French Canadians. So Maple Leaf's lyrics, while certainly pro-British, they're not explicitly anti-French.
Okay.
And Muir actually revised the lyrics from the first verse. So initially it would have been, "Here may it wave, our boast, our pride, and join in love together, the thistle, shamrock, rose, and twine." He changed that to "the lily, thistle, shamrock, rose,
that's nice.
The maple leaf forever."
That's nice.
Yeah, so he's adding, obviously, if you don't know, those flowers get represented by European Canadians a lot, because thistle is for Scotland, the shamrock for Ireland, rose for England, lily is the French national flower.
Yeah.
So we're adding that. And according to other accounts, this was actually the original wording that he had come up with.
Oh.
So, he's like,
He's trying.
He's trying.
I can see, though, how the French Canadians might not feel like God Save the Queen is very inclusive of their culture.
Yeah. He's like, I literally wrote in the script, I don't think I really need to explain why God Save the King was pro-British and anti-French.
Happy and glorious, long to reign over us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Maple Leaf Forever also does make explicit reference to the defeat of the French by James Wolfe at the capturing of Quebec in 1759, which they're still a little bummed about.
Yeah.
So there's this like desire to create a national song for French Canadians. So the French Canadians are like, well, they have their song and we're going to make our own song.
Because that's what French Canadians do.
Yeah. They're like, we don't want something with you.
Yeah.
We're going to make our own goddamn song.
Yeah.
This is our goddamn show.
Yeah.
There had been some attempts at writing one as early as 1829. So, Sol Canadien, Terre Chérie, with words written in 1829 by Isidore Bedard and music by Theodore Moult, was a short-lived but, popular song.
Enjoyed.
O Canada, mon pays, mes amours, was composed by Sir George Etienne Cartier. So, big figure. The music was by J.B. Labelle for the founding of Saint Jean-Baptiste Society in 1834.
Okay.
There were other songs such as La Huronne by Célestine Lavigueur.
Like the lake?
I think so.
Like Lake Huron?
Yeah, like Huron, but the feminine version.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's referring to the people or...
Oh, right, yeah.
Anyways. Yeah. And then Le Drapeau de Carillon by Octave Crémazie and Charles W. Sabatier enjoyed some popularity.
You're killing these French names.
I'm trying my best.
You're doing really good.
I practiced.
Okay.
However, none of these songs had connected sufficiently with the general populace. In Chansons populaires du Canada, so like a book of popular Canadian songs, Ernest Gagnon wrote Vive la Canadienne. He wrote that the melody of this song and that of Claire Fontaine take the place of a national anthem until something better comes along.
Okay. This is just a placeholder.
I love that. They're just like, all right, guys. Like, I totally see him publishing that, though. Like, he's just like, it's not that good, guys. Like, when, like, a girl would go up and, like, perform in your high school talent show.
Yeah.
And just be like, I'm not even good. And then, like, belt out Defying Gravity. This is like, okay. It's like, just till something better comes along, this can be our national anthem, I guess. Like, in 1878, the Saint Jean-Baptiste Society of Montreal officially adopted La Claire Fontaine as a national song. Okay. So he got his wish. In a letter to the National Convention of French Canadians, which was held between the 23rd and 25th of June in 1880 in Quebec City during Saint Jean-Baptiste festivities, the Reverend Napoleon Caron of Trois-Rivières Diocese suggested that a competition should be held to choose a national anthem, which we love to do in Canada.
We love that.
We love, like, we can't really think of a flag, so just send us some.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
We'll pick. We'll choose.
We'll make it a competition. So the letter was sent on the 24th of January in 1880 asking for submissions of songs to be like, we're going to pick a national anthem. The organizers of the festival decided that there wasn't enough time to hold the competition. So on the 15th of March, 1880, a music committee was appointed to produce a song.
Oh.
So they're like, send us your songs. And then they're like, wait. Don't do it yet. Enough time.
Don't do it yet.
We'll assemble a professional committee and then we'll make a song.
Yeah.
So the committee consisted of 23 members. Okay. Ernest Gagnon was the president, and a guy named Clomodier-Desile.
Clomodier.
Literally, Clomomir.
Clomodier.
Clomoyer.
Nice.
Was the secretary.
Oh.
There are a lot of conflicting accounts of how O Canada wound up being composed.
Okay.
So in an article in La Musique in June of 1920, Blanche Gagnon claimed that her father, Ernest, who's the president, he invited a guy named Calixa Lavalle.
Calixa. Love it.
To compose a national song for Saint Jean-Baptiste celebrations, and then he asked Judge Adolphe-Basile Routhier to write the lyrics, and it was Ernest who suggested to him what the first line should be.
Which was?
O Canada.
Oh, okay.
So it's this guy, Lavalle, who writes the music. He was a Montreal-born composer. And after he was kind of like spotted in the Montreal music scene, he was hired to play in a traveling minstrel group. Lavalle had been traveling in the U.S. extensively when the American Civil War broke out. And so he joins up. Like, he's a Canadian, but he's like, sure, I'll fight in the American Civil War. Why not?
Okay.
So he joined the 4th Rhode Island Regiment in 1861, and he served until he was mustered out in 1862, after which he continued to tour as a minstrel and eventually returned to Montreal in 1863. He lived in Paris for a period of time before returning to Montreal, and this time he was teaching at the Montreal Academy and working for several productions, so he's like pretty well known in Montreal. Routhier, on the other hand, was born and grew up in Saint Placide, Quebec, on his family's farm. He attended Séminaire de Sainte-Thérèse, and he studied law at Université Laval. He graduated and was called to the Quebec bar in 1861, and then Routhier practiced law until he was appointed to the Quebec Superior Court in 1873. So then he was Chief Justice for a period of time. He also ran as a conservative candidate, federal elections, but he was never elected.
Oh.
And he also wrote a number of books under the name Jean Piquefort. So
good for him.
Yeah. So he's the guy writing the lyrics.
Okay.
So Blanche's account was later debunked in 1920 in an article La Presse entitled The Genesis of Our National Anthem, O Canada.
Okay.
So in this article, it claimed that Routhier wrote the words first and that the lieutenant governor of Quebec, Theodore Rabataille, begged Lavalle to put them to music.
Oh.
So he's saying that this guy like had already written this poem, that like Ernest Gagnon had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
And it was the lieutenant governor who was like, please put these beautiful words to song.
Okay.
This version of events was long held to be authentic and was printed in the Dictionnaire Général du Canada. So like basically, if you know like the Canadian Dictionary of Biographies.
Yeah.
Sort of like that.
Okay.
And then it was later written in a biography of Calixa Lavalle.
Okay.
However, some key pieces of information came to light in the 1970s.
Oh, the 70s. What a time to be alive. What a time to...
What a period to be writing history. So they found a letter from Routhier to Thomas Bedford Richardson, dated the 12th of February, 1907, that was presented to the National Library of Canada in 1975 by Richardson's daughter. In this letter, written in English, Routhier declares that Monsieur Ernest Gagnon was a great friend of mine and of Monsieur Lavalle. At his suggestion, Lavalle and I agreed to compose a national song. Lavalle insisted to compose the music first, so he did, and then I made the verses or the stanzas with the metrical and the rhyme that were suitable to the music. So it's actually Blanche's original story that's more accurate than what was revised later on.
Right.
In another letter to Richardson, dated the 8th of January 1907, from the lawyer and politician Armand Lavergerne, it contains Ernest Gagnon's own testimony, which agrees with this account. In the letter, Gagnon declares that he brought Lavalle's music to Judge Routhier, and as an example of the rhythm he thought the lyrics should follow, he suggested the first line, O Canada, terre de nos aïeux.
Okay.
Which is the first line in the French version of O Canada. So Routhier's version of the birth of O Canada was expanded in comments he had provided to his grandson, Adolphe Routhier, which
Adolphe.
Very unfortunate. In May 1920, shortly before his death. These notes, which were read in Parliament in June of 1980 by Senator Arthur Tremblay, explain that Routhier heard Lavalle perform the Grand Air, or March Heroique, at the latter's residence on Couillard Street, and then wrote all 4 verses the following night.
Okay.
The notes from Routhier's grandson added that instead of being commissioned by the music committee, as some had previously stated, Lavalle, Ernest Gagnon, and Routhier took the initiative on their own because time was so short. In order to antagonize the other members of the committee, the 3 persuaded Lieutenant Governor Rabataille to commission Lavalle and Routhier officially to write the song. Lavalle was apparently so excited following his composition of O Canada that he forgot to sign the manuscript. Arthur Leving signed it on Lavalle's behalf and sent it post-haste by messenger to Lieutenant Governor Robitaille, who asked Leving to become its publisher. So this letter is like blending the two stories. So like the lieutenant governor's involved, but just to like piss off other members of the committee, I guess, because they're like, fuck you, we went and wrote the song. And now the lieutenant governor loves it.
Politics.
This was supposed to be a nice, fun thing where we all get together and write a song.
And they ruined it.
And you guys ruined it. So O Canada was completed in the first weeks of April 1880. In the 17th of April edition of the Journal de Quebec, it was written, "At last, we have truly a French-Canadian national song." The article added that Ernest Gagnon, president of the music committee, had approved the song by Lavalle and Routhier and would provide a run of 6,000 copies of the national song, of which 5,000 will be distributed to the public.
Okay.
Because that's really how you get a song popular.
Yeah.
You just make it incredibly accessible.
Incredibly.
So if everybody has a copy of it, then we're fine.
They'll love it.
You guys are going to love it. So the first performance of O Canada took place on the evening of the 24th of June, 1880. It's just funny that we also just know. We know exactly the day. The first time the song was performed.
It's like we don't know how we got to the song, but god damn it, we know the day that it was
We know
sung.
when we heard it. It was performed at a banquet at the Skaters Pavilion in Quebec City, which was attended by more than 500 distinguished guests.
Wow.
The song, under the title Chant National, so national song, was performed by 3 bands. It was repeated the following day at a large reception of 6,000 in the gardens of Spencer Wood. 6 concert bands played the song twice, and for the first time, the words were heard, sung by a full choir.
In English or French? Or both?
In French. So at this point, there are no English lyrics to O Canada. 2 subsequent renditions were reported and reviewed very favorably. It was reported yesterday morning at the Mass held in St. Roch Church, the Société Saint-Cécile graciously presented the national anthem, which was composed by Monsieur Lavalle, for our national holiday. And they're talking about St. Jean-Baptiste Day.
Right.
They're not talking about Canada Day. This anthem has a masterful character, and when sung by a great number of voices, creates a most impressive effect. Our Canadian artist has been patriotically and religiously inspired by such a great festive occasion as that of the 24th of June.
That's a fantastic review.
I know.
Like, if you're gonna,
you would like Minute Women podcast.
If you're gonna rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast, take a lesson from that guy.
Mm-hmm. So the popularity of O Canada grew very quickly in Quebec, but the national anthem wasn't heard in English Canada for another 20 years.
Oh.
In 1901, it was apparently sung by school children in Toronto.
I was going to say,
apparently.
It's like a kid's in Quebec for the summer and comes home and starts to sing, and they're like, no, shh, no one can hear it.
No one can know. I also love that we have such a good record of the first time it was sung in Quebec, and we're like, apparently it was sung by some school children in Toronto.
Yeah, maybe.
For the first visit of Duke of Cornwall and York, the future King George V. Thomas B. Richardson translated 2 of the 4 verses of Routhier's lyrics. This version was published by Whaley Ross & Co. in 1906 and was also sung in Macy Hall in 1907 by the Toronto Mendelssohn Choir. So these are the first translated lyrics of O Canada.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear them?
I would love to.
O Canada, our father's land of old, thy brow is crowned with leaves of red and gold. Beneath the shade of the holy cross, thy children owned their birth. No stains thy glorious annals gloss, since valor shield thy hearth.
The glorious what gloss?
Annals.
Okay.
Which is an unfortunate word for like a yearly record.
Oh. Yeah.
ANN.
Yes, like annual. Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Okay.
Almighty God, on thee we call. Defend our rights, forfend this nation's thrall. Defend our rights, forfend this nation's thrall.
Wow. I am
Richardson's
so glad those are not the current lyrics.
Richardson's literal translation of the original French text was not received well.
No.
And the Canadian edition of the magazine's Collier Weekly organized a competition to find acceptable English translations.
Canadians love to compete.
We're just like, fuck it. Anyone send us translations and we'll think about it.
Because that's garbage.
There were 350 submissions.
Good.
And the winner was announced on the 7th of August. It was Mrs. Mercy E. Powell McCulloch. What a great name.
That is a great name.
So her lyrics are a little different. She goes, "O Canada, in praise of thee we sing. From echoing hills our anthem proudly rings. With fertile plains and mountains grand, with lakes and rivers clear, eternal beauty thou dost stand throughout the changing year. Lord God of hosts, we now implore, bless our dear land this day and evermore. Bless our dear land this day and evermore."
That's not terrible.
It's definitely better.
It's better than what I just heard.
But McCulloch's version did not catch on widely either.
Oh, okay.
Many other English versions were written of O Canada, including one by poet Wilfred Campbell, the critic Augustus Bridle, and Ewing Buchanan, the bank manager in Vancouver.
Oh.
Whose version was promoted by
the only bank manager in all of Vancouver.
Only one. Which was promoted by the Vancouver Canada Club.
Of course.
And gained popularity in British Columbia.
I'm sure it did.
So his version: "O Canada, our heritage, our love, thy worth we praise, all other lands above. From sea to sea throughout their length, from pole to borderland, at Britain's side, where betide, unflinchingly we stand."
Oh.
I love where betide. Where betide.
Unflinchingly we stand.
Just a bunch of drunk people at the Vancouver Canada Club. Yeah. Where betide. Just like
unflinchingly we stand. They're like, yes.
This is great. With hearts we sing, God save the king. I love it references them singing a different song. That's a bad national anthem.
That's not good.
"Guide then one empire wide, do we implore, and prosper Canada from shore to shore."
Okay.
However, the English version that became most widely used was written by Robert Stanley Weir, a lawyer and recorder, and later a judge in the city of Montreal. Written to mark the 300th anniversary of the founding of Quebec City, it was published by Delmar Music in November 1908 with an arrangement of the music by Alfred Grant Schaeffer. So this is like the version that we know.
Okay, good.
I feel like I don't need to read that one. Revisions were made to Weir's version in 1913, 1914, and 1916.
And 2019.
2019, 1960. The revisions don't stop.
The revisions don't end here, folks.
In the Common School Book of Vocal Music, published by the Education Book Company of Toronto in 1913, the original line, "True patriot love, thou dost in us command," was changed to "True patriot love, in all thy sons command."
Yes.
So that's something that came out when they were trying to make the song more gender neutral, is that the first version of the English lyrics weren't gendered. They were,
right.
It was originally gender neutral.
Oh, interesting.
So it was originally "thou dost in us command," and that became "in all thy sons command."
Yeah.
This particular change was also included in a version published by Delmar in 1914 and in all versions printed thereafter. There is no evidence as to why the change to sons was made, although it is worth noting that the women's suffrage movement was at its most controversial around 1913. And by 1914 and 16, there was a surge of patriotism during the First World War at a time when only men could serve in the armed forces.
Okay.
So it says a lot about the political circumstances of the day.
Right.
They don't want women to have the vote and have got our boys out serving in Europe. So they're like, make it about the men.
Yeah.
Further minor amendments were made to Weir's version after it was widely published in 1927. Up to the middle of the 20th century, public discussions relating to the anthem, evidenced by letters to the editor in the country's major newspapers, tended to revolve around the appropriateness of the phrase "stand on guard for thee" and the controversy associated with the tune's perceived similarity to Mozart's March of the Priests. So that's the other thing. Lavalle always contends that he didn't copy, but O Canada sounds remarkably similar to a Mozart piece called March of the Priests, which is in an opera. So we also plagiarized it.
Yeah.
Discussion relating to the discriminatory aspects of the anthem, such as the gender-exclusive use of sons, began to resurface in the 1950s.
Oh, okay.
By the beginning of the First World War, O Canada had become the de facto national anthem of French Canada. But in English Canada, the Maple Leaf Forever was still the more popular song.
Oh, of course.
However, a popular consensus had yet to be reached for English lyrics of O Canada.
Oh, okay.
As Liberal MP William Stevens Fielding noted in 1920, in French Canada, O Canada is sung everywhere. In the English provinces, the music is heard in our parks and our theaters, but seldom are English words sung to it. Whatever the reason may be, none of the English translations seem to have taken hold of the popular fancy.
Okay.
But this would soon change. So in 1924, the Association of Canadian Clubs declared Weir's version the official version, and in 1927 it was officially published for the Diamond Jubilee of Confederation and was begun to be sang in schools and other public functions.
Okay.
Between 1962 and 1980, more than a dozen bills proposing O Canada be adopted as the official national anthem were introduced in Parliament. In 1964, the federal government authorized a special joint committee of the Senate and the House of Commons to consider the official status of God Save the Queen and O Canada. On the 31st of January, 1966, Prime Minister Lester B. Pearson made a motion to the House of Commons stating that the government be authorized to take such steps as may be necessary to provide that O Canada shall be the national anthem of Canada, while God Save the Queen shall be the royal anthem of Canada.
Somebody with some sense.
On the 5th of March, 1967, the special committee unanimously recommended that the government be authorized to adopt forthwith the music for O Canada, composed by Calixa Lavalle, as the music of the national anthem of Canada, with the following notation added to the sheet music: with dignity, not too slowly. That's how they want it played.
I love that.
With dignity, and not too slowly. Come on. Like, get it over with.
Because, and I always remember that in band, that O Canada's in 4/4 time, but God Save the Queen is in 3/4 time. Because it's like, bum, 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 bum. As the percussionist, there was, I got to do the crash cymbals for God Save the Queen.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ba, 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 da, I
do love that the British, I mean, God Save the Queen is like a kind of a long song, but they only play the first like verse, which I love that. It's just like, oh, just get it over with.
Yeah.
It's like, no one wants to be here any longer than this. The Queen can't stand for the whole song.
Seriously.
The committee also recommended further study of the lyrics. It recommended keeping the original French lyrics, but amending the existing version of Weir's English lyrics, changing Stand on Guard, O Canada, to From Far and Wide, O Canada. So there's like a couple of little differences.
So they just changed some stuff.
And changing O Canada, glorious and free, to God Keep Our Land, glorious and free. So they're adding God in the 1960s?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's a choice in the 1960s.
Yeah, like people are aware of diversity and inclusion a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
The copyright to Weir's text was passed to Leo Feist Limited in 1929 and to Gordon V. Thompson Music in 1932. However, Weir's heirs did not approve of the changes of the lyrics, and though their legal standing was questionable, the government chose to settle the matter amicably. In 1970...
Why? What was the issue?
They're like, let's not fight about the national anthem.
Okay.
In 1970, both Thompson and Weir's descendants surrendered their rights to the Canadian government for the symbolic sum of $1.
Oh, God. It's like the freaking Blue Nose. $1.
The cost of all our national symbols is $1.
That's it.
We're really cheap.
You want the CN Tower? It's yours.
It's yours for $1.
$1.
On the 28th of February, 1972, Secretary of State Gerard Pelletier introduced a bill to the House of Commons that incorporated the recommendations of the 1967 committee and proposed adopting O Canada as the official national anthem. However, the bill died on the order paper. Various subsequent bills met with the same fate.
Why?
So they're just like, they just won't adopt like lyrics, and that's the problem. Like they just like won't settle on words.
That's so dumb.
Finally, on the 18th of June, 1980, a bill was presented by Secretary of State Francis Fox proposing that O Canada be declared Canada's national anthem as soon as possible.
In 1980?
1980.
1980.
It's like definitely sung, but it's not officially our national
My
anthem.
mom's 10 in 1980 or 11. Like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. In recognition of the centenary of its first performance. So the National Anthem Act was passed unanimously by the House of Commons and the Senate on the 27th of June, 1980, and received royal assent the same day. On the 1st of July, 1980, a public ceremony.
Canada Day. I see where they're going with this.
Featuring the descendants of the people who wrote the song, the Lieutenant Governor of Quebec, the Governor General. They all proclaimed O Canada the official national anthem of Canada.
Thank God.
So we're finally here. But
we haven't made it yet.
This isn't the end of the story.
We're not out of the woods.
So in June of 1990, Toronto City Council voted in favor of recommending to the federal government that the wording "our home and native land" be changed to "our home and cherished land," which they thought would be more inclusive to non-native born Canadians, so like immigrants.
Those people.
And that the phrase "in all thy sons" command be changed to "in all of us" command, bringing it closer to the original version.
Oh, okay.
Similarly, in 2002, Senator Vivian Poy introduced a bill proposing that "in all thy sons" command be changed to "in all of us" command, but the bill died on the order paper.
And okay, so I know that means it doesn't go through, but that means that people voted against it, or it just didn't get dealt with. They were like, this just isn't important, so we're not going to do it.
So I'm pretty sure when it dies on the order paper, it means that it wasn't voted to be considered. Like bills have to be proposed, and then they get approved at that first round, and then they actually get written and like re-proposed to the House.
Right.
There's like 3 rounds before a bill gets officially approved, and then it goes to the Senate, and it has to be approved by the Senate as well.
Okay.
So in the following years, several groups criticized the reference to God in the English version and all of the like Catholic references in the French version. On the 3rd of March 2010, Governor General Michelle Jean announced a plan in her speech from the throne to have Parliament review the original gender-neutral wording of the national anthem. Public sentiment against the changing anthem was so strong that the Prime Minister's office announced 2 days later that the plan would be abandoned.
Oh, man. So it's been going on a while that they've been trying to get that changed. That's crazy. I had no idea. I thought that was like...
It's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
let's do it.
So they did it.
No, it's
that's
like
interesting.
People are vehemently opposed to changing the national anthem.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Which had only been officially like instated 30 years before this.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah.
Politics, man.
On the 30th of September 2013, the issue of reverting to gender-neutral lyrics was revived by the Restore Our Anthem campaign, headed by Senator Poy, author Margaret Atwood, former Prime Minister Kim Campbell, and Senator Nancy Ruth, among others.
Little girl power.
But, of course, it takes a man to actually get it changed.
Oh, fuck, I hate that.
On the 6th of May 2016, Liberal MP Mauriel Bélanger, who had championed the cause for years, so he's like always wanted to change the lyrics.
Okay.
He had advanced stages of ALS.
Oh.
And he introduced a private member's bill. So like a private member of the House of Commons can introduce a bill as long as it's supported by someone else, I believe. And he wanted to change "in all thy sons" command to "in all of us" command. Bélanger made an emotional and controversial appearance in the House of Commons in June. So he's, at this point, like, is really late stage ALS. Yeah. So he can't stand, he can't even really talk. But he's, like, in the House of Commons in June to ensure that the bill is moved forward.
Damn, way to hit it home.
Yeah, and there was, like, this whole lot of stuff. Like, there was, like, conservatives, like, filibustering, like, to make so this guy can't see his bill go through, basically. Like, horrible.
Wow.
It was approved as Bill C-210 on the 15th of June, 2016 by a vote of 225 to 74.
Conservatives. God
After 7 separate debates in the Senate and following Bélanger's death on the 17th of August, 2016.
So we didn't even get to see it.
He didn't get to see it. He got to see it go through Commons, but never saw it approved.
What a bummer.
The bill passed its clause-by-clause review in the Senate on the 6th of December 2016. The final vote to pass the bill into law took place in the Senate on the 31st of January 2018 and was boycotted by all conservative members.
Naturally.
The change did become official, however, when the bill was signed into law by royal assent on the 7th of February 2018. And so now we have a gender-neutral national anthem.
Okay, to be completely honest, that's the most shocking part of this whole story to me. Because I did not think that it was that. I literally thought that it was one day, Trudeau's just in his office and he's like, let's just switch that up, shall we?
Yeah, it's like, to me, it makes so much sense to just have a gender neutral national anthem.
If you can, if the lyrics are there to be either gender neutral or not,
it's like we already have a model for it. Like, it used to be gender neutral and then we switched it.
Like, God Save the Queen, it just goes by whoever's king or queen.
Yeah.
Like, if the queen or king prefers they them pronouns, then we cross that bridge when we come to it.
What would be the
I have no idea.
A queen.
I can't even.
A keen.
I was going to say a queen with a K, like Kween.
Yeah. Queen.
It's RuPaul.
Just a drag queen. That's so offensive. Non-binary folk. That's like drag queens, right? I seen that RuPaul. It was so funny the other day. Wait, I was driving with Eric and there's this call-in segment on one of the Halifax radio stations.
Yeah.
And it's like you just answer the question, you answer the question right, you get $10.
Oh, yeah.
You have a minute and they cycle through the questions over and over again.
Yeah.
One of the questions, it was just this old woman and she would answer the questions. Every time she didn't know what answer, she'd go, pass. Pass. And then they were just RuPaul is the host of what competitive drag queen show?
No.
And she was like, don't know. One of the questions was just what was it? It was something to do with Twilight. Something to do with Twilight. I think it was this actor became famous for his roles in Harry Potter and Twilight franchise. And she was like, pass.
Did she answer any?
She got $60. So she got a decent number of them right. But then at the end, they're just she didn't know who sang We Rise Again.
Oh my God.
Really maritime questions. Yeah. And then eventually, whatever, they the minute runs up.
I would say the minors, though. Is that right?
We Rise Again?
Yeah.
The Rankins.
Was it the Rankins?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people sing it, but I think they were who made popular. Whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And so they they're just wow, you got $60. She was like, wow. I was like, who is this person?
Or the men, not the minors, the Men of the
Deep.
Men of the Deep. Yeah. That's who I would have said sang it.
Men of the Deep, I think their big one is Working Man. But that's Rita McNeil. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, Cape Breton and Nova Scotia songs. Nova Scotia's really good at killing miners. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh my God.
It's true. Miners who work underground, not miners who are under the age of 18.
Probably
Scotia's both, to be honest.
Nova Scotia's really good at killing those kids, That's why we have such an aged population. It's not that the kids aren't here. We just kill them.
We kill them off. But
you better tell Colin to watch out. He's almost out of the woods.
Yeah, he's so close. I'm listening to this podcast it's not a new podcast, but it's produced by Canada Land. It's called The Commons, and it's a journalism kind of podcast.
Okay.
The first season, it's episode to episode. It's a new thing, but then more recently, every season has a theme. So they did the season all about real estate.
Nice.
And it's really interesting. And the most recent season, the season they're doing right now, is all about mining. So there's been 4 episodes.
Okay.
They do the Klondike. They've done Westray Mine Disaster in Pictou. They did Bre-X, which is the fake gold mine. What was the other
Not Spring
one?
Hill?
No, they didn't do Spring Hill. Yeah,
their
probably
big
eventually. Oh, asbestos.
Oh.
Every episode has a shitty Nova Scotian.
Of course.
Every shitty, like, lying, conniving prospector in Canadian history is from Nova Scotia. And they're literally just going through the Westray mine disaster, which is, like, this horrible, like, really deadly mine disaster. Like, 26 people died in the, like, 1990s, I think.
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, they, like, go through, it's just, like... I'm paraphrasing, but they're like, Nova Scotia's really good at killing miners.
Oh, no!
Like, 1,300 miners were killed in Cape Breton mines over the course of, like, 100 years.
Yeah.
And then they're like, in the Spring Hill disaster, this many people died. Well, multiple disasters in Spring Hill, I believe. There were, like, multiple mine explosions.
Yeah.
We have really unsafe, explosive mines. Visit Nova Scotia. It's beautiful.
Come to Cape Breton. It's nice.
People are desperate and they'll just work in horrible mine conditions.
Don't go there to be a miner.
Yeah. Anyways, would highly recommend though. It's a great podcast.
Yeah. What was it called again?
It's called The Commons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I would recommend.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's the history of Canada's national anthem. Controversial.
But cool. I liked that one. That was an interesting one, and not at all where I expected it was gonna go.
I want someone to like get up and just sing one of the like defunct lyrics. They're just like, thy brow is crowned with leaves of red and gold.
It's like, who the fuck are you? Sit down.
Who the fuck is this time traveler?
Sit down.
It's like some time traveler from the past who's like, well, that's the only version I know. The French lyrics, on the other hand, have barely changed.
Oh, really?
The French lyrics were like written and they're like, great, we nailed it. First try. Let's go. English lyrics, though, like we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Oh, that's funny.
Quebec's like, we're perfect. we're great.
Welcome to Quebec.
No notes.
You with criticism to be hung.
Yeah, please.
That's actually why Louis Riel was hung. He didn't like the French lyrics.
Well, he didn't like a lot about Canada.
It's also true.
Well, we're going to go Christmas shopping.
Yeah, we are. We're going to go Christmas shopping, but not for each other because we're together. Yeah. So we'll have to do that later. But we're going to go Christmas shopping and just enjoy the festive, start of December.
Yeah, so we'll be back for a couple more episodes. I haven't really decided when our Christmas break will be.
Yeah, but it's our show, so yeah,
we'll
guys figure it out.
We're flying by the seat of our pants, so you guys can too.
Yeah.
But you can come back next Wednesday for another episode. Thank you for spending an hour of your time with us.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
We appreciate it so much. We'd also appreciate it if you rate and review the podcast. You can also check out our website, which is minutewomenpodcast.ca. And from there, you can get links to our social media. You can also get a link to our merch store, which is the perfect gift for that Minute Women fan in your life.
You still have time to order before Christmas.
Yeah, we have merch with our new artwork. Mugs are the best. I think the mugs are the best.
The mugs are great
in our store. So you can go check that out, and we'll see you next week with a new episode.
Bye.
Bye.